What's up guys, this is Danny Matranga with Mind Pump TV. Today I want to show you some of the subtle technique and execution cues to properly perform a tricep rope extension or a tricep press down. Now this is one of the best isolation movements you can do for the triceps, but it's also one of the most commonly improperly performed, despite being a relatively easy exercise once you get the hang of it. So I want to show you guys the necessary setup and execution cues. So not only can you target your triceps better, but also you can take and ensure that your elbows stay healthy throughout the duration of your training. So the first thing you want to do is just set up your cable pulley properly. For 9 out of 10 people, you're just going to bring it straight to the top. The only time you wouldn't was if you were very diminutive and short and maybe you actually needed to have it lower because you couldn't reach the rope. So I set it all the way up at the top. The second thing you're gonna touch on is gonna be the chest position and the feet position. So the way your body is standing in front of the cable. So some people will stand with a staggered stance. Some people will stand with this just squared base stance. I like to stagger the stance. I feel a little bit more stable in this position. I want my chest up facing the bar here, facing the ropes. And then I'm going to grab the ropes with my hands neutral in this position. The next piece is probably the biggest piece, and that's what do I do with the elbows and the shoulders after I've gotten my base. So a lot of lifters won't stabilize the elbow joint. They won't pull the shoulders back and stabilize. What they'll do is they'll pull from here and they'll allow the elbow to move forward and backwards. And what that actually ends up doing is it robs the tricep of a lot of the lift. You end up using the lats, pulling the arm back like this, and you're missing out on a lot of tricep. If you put the elbows tight to the body, like they're almost like they're nailed in, you keep the chest up, shoulders back, and perform the lift like that, you end up getting a more stable joint, which will allow the triceps to fire that much harder, and it will also eliminate any secondary muscle use. So from here, elbows pinned at your side, almost like they're nailed down. Once you begin the extension, the cue I like is to try to pull the rope into your side pockets, right? So there's a slight pull apart at the bottom. And the reason we pull apart at the bottom is to, again, give clearance and get a full contraction of the tricep. If I don't pull apart and I pull in towards my pelvic bone area, I'm gonna end up running out of space. I'm not gonna get full extension, but if I start to pull apart towards that bottom third of the rep, I'm gonna get a full contraction. Something I want you guys to be aware of that I see a lot of lifters do, is they actually start to rotate upward at the bottom. They hyper focus on that pull apart and they end up going into this internally rotated spot down here at the bottom. That's not getting you any additional advantage at the tricep, and really all it's doing is just kind of grinding the wrist away. So I always like to make sure that I can see the tops of my hands, my thumb and my forefinger when I do this movement, extending downward, keeping my elbows nice and stable. Not too fancy, but it's done so improperly so often that I think it's something that every lifter needs to know what to focus on. So a bonus tip I have for you guys is this. The tricep actually has 3 heads, right? Tri-Cep. Tri means 3, cep means head in Latin, right? But 2 of them really get worked heavily on the rope extension, and 1 of them kind of gets left out. The whole group contracts as 1, but if we want to bias that other head that doesn't get hit as hard, we can actually do a similar movement in an overhead position, right? When we put the shoulder into flexion like this and move the arm upward, we actually bias another head of the tricep, right? So from here, I can perform almost the same exact movement, right? But work my tricep a little bit differently. I'm a big fan of training the triceps in both the traditional elbow extension position and also elbow extension from an overhead position. If you do both of those things in conjunction with your traditional multi-joint pressing, the majority of your tricep stuff should be locked and loaded, ready to go. If you guys found this video helpful, make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave us a comment down below. We love to interact with you guys, answer questions, and gather ideas for future videos. Thanks so much for watching. Have a good day.